At some point between 2008 and 2022, Justin Bieber made somewhere between $500 million and $1 billion. He was the most streamed artist on the planet, sold out arenas on every continent, and had 30 billion streams on Spotify alone. So why, in December 2022, was he on the phone with his manager screaming, "I have to sell it now"? By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly how someone loses $1 billion and what they're forced to do to survive. Let's rewind for a second, because the size of the fall only makes sense if you understand the height of the peak. Justin Bieber was discovered at 12 years old by talent manager Scooter Braun, who found him on YouTube, a kid from Stratford, Ontario, covering R&B songs in his bedroom. By 14, he had a record deal. By 16, he was the biggest pop star in the world. He didn't just succeed, he redefined what success in the digital age could look like. By the time he was in his mid-20s, he had 290 original songs to his name, over 82 million monthly listeners on Spotify, more than 30 billion streams on a single platform. His tours were selling out stadiums in minutes. And in 2021, he released Justice, his 6th studio album. Between touring, endorsements, streaming royalties, and record deals, estimates say he brought in between $500 million and $1 billion over his career. So here's the question that this whole story hinges on: where did it all go? To understand the financial collapse, you first have to understand what happened to his body. In June 2022, Justin Bieber posted a video that shocked the internet. Half of his face was completely paralyzed. He couldn't smile. He couldn't blink his right eye. He had been diagnosed with Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, a rare neurological condition caused by a viral infection that attacks the facial nerve. He had to cancel his Justice World Tour immediately. Now, here's where it gets important. That tour wasn't just a comeback, it was a financial lifeline. Industry insiders estimate that completing the tour would have earned him $90 million. $90 million. Gone because his face stopped working. But cancelling the tour didn't just cost him future income, it triggered something far worse, a debt he couldn't pay back. And that is where this story gets really complicated. When a major artist goes on a world tour, the concert promoter, in Bieber's case AEG, runs an enormous advance before a single ticket is sold. Think of it as a loan. You go on tour, you earn it back, everybody wins. Justin Bieber had already taken a $40 million advance from AEG for the Justice Tour. When he cancelled, he still owed a huge portion of that back. Reports put his debt to AEG at somewhere between $20 and $24 million. According to the TMZ documentary, What Happened to Justin Bieber, when AEG came calling, Bieber's alleged response was 3 words: "I don't have it." The kid who made $1 billion didn't have $20 million. Now, I promised I'd answer the question of where the money went. Here's the honest answer. Nobody fully knows. What we do know is the combination of factors: years of unchecked spending, a team of people on the payroll, a cancelled tour, mounting medical costs, and the general financial black hole that is being a global celebrity from age 14, had left him in a position that his own camp described as the verge of financial collapse. And at that moment, someone came knocking with $200 million in hand. But who exactly was Hipgnosis, and why did they want Justin Bieber's songs so badly? That's what we need to talk about next. Hipgnosis Songs Capital is, at its core, a music royalty investment firm backed by one of the largest private equity companies on the planet, Blackstone, which manages over $1 trillion in assets. The idea behind Hipgnosis is simple but kind of genius. Music catalogs, especially from proven hitmakers, are predictable income machines. Every time Baby plays in a coffee shop, every time Love Yourself gets synced in a Netflix show, every time someone streams Sorry at 2 a.m., royalties get paid forever. Hipgnosis founder Mirk Mercuradis had already bought catalogs from Neil Young, Shakira, Blondie, and others. He called music rights better than gold, and Bieber's catalog, 30 billion streams and 82 million monthly listeners, was one of the most valuable income-generating assets in modern music. For Blackstone, this wasn't a gamble. This was buying a pipeline, and for Bieber, it was the only exit door available. The deal was officially announced in January 2023, over $200 million, the largest catalog acquisition in Hipgnosis history and the largest ever for any artist under the age of 70. Justin Bieber was 28 years old. Before we get into what he actually sold, and this part surprises most people, smash that like button if you're finding this interesting, and if you want more deep dives on the business side of music, subscribe and hit the bell. Alright, back to it. Here's where most reporting gets sloppy, so let's be precise. Bieber sold 3 things to Hipgnosis. 1. His share of the publishing rights, including the writer's share of performance royalties. Every time one of his songs plays on radio or streaming, Hipgnosis now gets that income. 2. His interest in his master recordings, the actual sound recordings of every song in his catalog. 3. Neighboring rights, a lesser-known royalty stream tied to the physical broadcast of recorded music. What he did not sell, Universal Music Group still owns his masters in perpetuity. Bieber was selling his stake in that ownership, not the recordings themselves. It's a subtle but massive distinction. This means from now on, every dollar Bieber's old songs generate flows to Hipgnosis and Blackstone, not him. Baby's billions of streams, not his. Peaches, not his. Love Yourself, not his anymore. And here's the question that nobody seems to be asking out loud. Did his manager know just how bad things really were? Scooter Braun has been at the center of music industry controversy for years, most famously in his feud with Taylor Swift over her masters. But in this story, his role is far more complicated than simply villain or hero.
Gotta sell this catalog. Scooter said no. And finally, when Scooter realized they were going to sell it, this was in December, Scooter said, at least wait until January because you'll get a tax break if you wait till January. And Justin said,
according to the TMZ documentary, when Bieber decided to sell his catalog, Braun actually tried to talk him out of it, or at least slow him down. He reportedly advised Bieber to wait until January 2023 to complete the sale. The reason? A tax break that could have saved him millions. Justin Bieber reportedly said no. He needed the money now. He sold in December 2022. Think about that. He was so cash-strapped that he walked away from a tax break worth millions because he couldn't wait 30 days. But the Scooter Braun story doesn't end there. Since the sale, audits have reportedly shown that Bieber owes Braun millions in unpaid management commissions, and their professional relationship has since ended. The same man who brokered the $200 million deal is now reportedly owed money by the man who needed the $200 million. If that's not a Hollywood script, I don't know what is.
What's your relationship with Justin now?
Not the same that it was. I think, these things go ebb and flow.
Now, it's important to be fair here because there are 2 very different narratives around this deal and both have credible voices behind them. Narrative 1. He was broke and had no choice. This is the TMZ version. Sources on Bieber's own side allegedly confirmed financial collapse as the motivation. The timeline matches the AEG debt, the cancelled tour, the refusal to even wait a month for a tax benefit. Narrative 2. He wanted his freedom. Hipgnosis founder Merck Mercuriadis has said publicly that Bieber's motivation was to step off the treadmill, to stop being a machine that had to tour every year, release every year, perform every year. He'd been doing it since age 14. He was married, wanting to start a family, dealing with serious health issues. The $200 million bought him time and autonomy. Here's my red. Both are true. The financial pressure created the urgency, but the emotional relief of getting off the treadmill made the decision easier to make. When you're a 28-year-old with a rare neurological disease, a cancelled world tour, millions in debt, and $1 billion somehow gone, $200 million in your pocket probably feels like salvation, regardless of what you're giving up. So, what does life look like on the other side of selling everything you ever made? In early 2025, Justin Bieber released Swag, his first studio album in 4 years. He performed at Coachella 2026, headlining the festival with a set that the internet spent weeks debating. Some called it underwhelming, Others said it was one of the most strategically interesting performances in festival history, a man performing songs he no longer owns in a way that arguably maximizes his new leverage. He's 31, he has a child, his health appears to be improving, and according to the people around him, the decision to sell has given him exactly what Mercuriadis predicted, the freedom to move at his own pace. The songs still exist, the streaming numbers still climb, Baby will still be played at weddings in 2040. He just won't see a cent of it. Whether that trade was worth it, only he knows. But the fact that a man who made $1 billion ended up in that position should tell us something profound about the music industry, the machine we build around young artists, and the price of a career that starts at 12. Justin Bieber didn't sell his catalog because he was smart. He sold it because he had no choice. And yet, paradoxically, it may have been the best thing that ever happened to him. The kid who gave the world Baby, Sorry, and Love Yourself traded the royalties for his peace of mind. And honestly, after everything he went through, the paralysis, the debt, the pressure that starts when you're barely a teenager, maybe that was the right call. If this video gave you a new perspective on the music business, drop a comment below. I read every single one. Like the video and subscribe if you want more stories like this one. I'll see you in the next video. This is Fame Africa.